Do I remember how to do this? Ugh. Clearly not, because that's not in focus. Let's try again. Much better! I feel the need to document that this has happened, because she's never here. One must pay the troll tax. You know, normally after a month off from filming, I would call this video something like my triumphant book haul return. But instead this video gets to be called I have barely read a book in a month. Let's count some instead. And the subtitle could just be let's hurt myself with my own percentages. It's Leanne and welcome back to another video. Or should I just say a video, as my track record over the last month has been I have unfortunately been sick in some way or another for about a month now. Whilst you guys are still enjoying the videos that I filmed at Becca's, and there's still a vlog to come to finish those off, I was out here surfing on the worst body flare that I've had in about a year. And while we all know that this is the realities of chronic illness, we can't predict how long a flare is going to last, or in some cases what form it's going to take, it still really sucked. Luckily I was mostly back on my feet for Becca visiting me, where we had a lovely week where we did some exploring, ate some excellent food and attended Rare. Some books from which have wormed their way into this stack. But unfortunately Rare didn't just leave me with good memories, it also left me with a lovely gift. That's right my friends, I finally got the COVID. And oh, it was a long time coming for me the second time around, and I can confirm that it has been fun neither time. The brain fog is only just dissipating, so if you get any fun bloopers in this video, that's why. So we're going to go through this pile of stuff that I have acquired, things that have come from publishers, pre-orders and stuff that I got at Rare. But before we dig into the books that have been sitting on my hauley trolley, I first want to thank the sponsors of today's video, the wonderful people at Serious Readers. If you guys have been here for a while, then you know that Serious Readers are one of the brands that I love to work with the most. I will always give them a shout out because they have literally changed my reading life forever, and my crafting life, and my just everyday life. If you have never heard of Serious Readers before, then they are a wonderful small UK based company who really take a hands-on approach to their customers and customer service. They are so helpful, they are so eager to get it right, and personally when I'm considering investing in anything for my home, customer service and customer reviews is one of the first things that I look at these days, and the reviews for Serious Readers do not lie. The Serious Light range from Serious Readers has got me seriously devoted. Serious Readers have developed a lamp that uses daylight wavelength technology, which is their very own thing, and it essentially means that your eyeballs cannot tell the difference between natural daylight outside and their lamp, which when you are a reader like us, often spending hours and hours reading tiny black text printed on a whitish page, cannot be overlooked as a serious investment in your future eye health. But like I said, I would be lying if I said I use my Serious Light only for reading. I also use it for crochet, I use it for cross stitch, I use it for knitting. I may or may not have used it to help me find a leak under my bath because it was the brightest, best light that I had. Oh, and just for the record, because it is so close to daylight, it's also a cat trap because they can't tell the difference either. So if you would like to invest in your future eyeball health and also trap a few cats on your lap, then you can use my offer code Leanne24. Be careful how you spell that, it has to be the exact one on the screen, to get yourself £100 off of a high definition Serious Readers Serious Light and free UK delivery. Just head down to my description box and click on my link below to browse. Okay, so let's get into the stacks, and we are going to have a slightly unusual beginning because I am going to show you these 6 books, but I'm not going to tell you anything about them. When I went down to visit Becca, I of course visited quite a few bookshops in York, and so what I decided to do was start filming my second episode of the 60% Diaries, trying to read all of these books and keep them from effectively ever landing on my spreadsheet. It wasn't going to necessarily help my percentages, but it was definitely going to try and, you know, even them out and not make a dent in them like this stack is about to do. However, as previously discussed, chronic illness had a different plan. So I am halfway through the reading of all of these 6 books. That vlog is still coming to you. Consider it to be like a Doctor Who episode. When it appears, we're going to travel back to the wonders that is Becca's a month ago, and then we're going to finish up after Rare over a month later. That does, however, mean that we can put 6 books onto our tally for this book haul, and we can immediately take 3 of them back off, which is very satisfying, but is a phenomenon that is not going to carry on for the rest of this, so don't get your hopes up, because I'm not. And the next book that I'm going to show you seems very fitting in this timeline of events, because while I was at Becca's, she was away at San Diego Comic Con, and there she met the wonderful Robin Hobb, and she brought me back a signed book. If you're new to my channel, then I am currently hosting the Fits Along, which is a complete reread of all of the books in the Realm of the Elderlings series. There is still time to catch up if you want to jump in now. We have read the first trilogy, which starts with this wonderful book, and we are now reading book 2 from the second trilogy, which is the Live Ship trilogy. Hopefully by the time that you see this video, I will have rescheduled the live show for the first Live Ship Traders book, and so at least if you're joining a little bit later, you have all of those fun live shows left to watch back. And I'm very excited to add a very floppy American paperback to my collection. Next up, speaking of completing collections, I have the final book in the Green Creek Saga by TJ Klune. This was sent to me by the wonderful people at Book Break. I sadly missed the tour. This is the final book in a paranormal romance fated mates quartet, and I will level with you right up here up front and say that this is just a candy floss for the brain series for me. Small Town Werewolves and Fated Mates is all stuff that I have loved for a really long time, and so I will admit that it ticks a lot of boxes for me, which I don't know if it will tick for you, but I am having the best time and I am dying to find out how this one ends. A series that I do know the ending for, however, is the Percy Jackson series. You guys know that I am a big lover of this series, and that periodically I'm like, I really need to just sit down and reread it, and the lovely folks at Penguin have made sure that that is possible, because now that Rick Riordan is bringing out an entirely new series which follows on from the Percy Jackson universe, Penguin have repackaged all of the original books to match. The scream that I screamed when I opened this box originally was heard around the world. However, I have not actually seen any of the covers yet because I haven't unpacked this. Okay, so we have got the first book, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. These are like psychedelic colours, and I don't know if the camera is picking this up or not, but these books have actually got glazed foiling on the front, which in this case makes it look like there's rain, and this scene obviously famously happens in the rain. And joy of joys, all of the books are numbered on the spine. It's almost like it doesn't cost much for publishers to actually do that. Then we've got book 2, which is Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. Book 3, which is the Titan's Curse. Book 4, and I really love the cover of this one, this is the Battle of the Labyrinth. Book 5, which is the original Last Ending, the Last Olympian. And then finally, for the first time in paperback form, we have got book 6, which is the Chalice of the Gods. In my personal opinion, it was about time that these book covers got a re-release, because the first ones were given kind of like 90s marketed only to adolescent boys, if you know what I mean. Also, this makes me absolutely delighted because 5 of these books can go onto my percentages and immediately come straight back off. Alright, on to the next book. The next book that I have to show you is a complete mystery to me. This lovely package comes from the wonderful Melina at Melina's bookstore on Etsy. I will leave her links down below. She reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in receiving one of her mystery book packages. So this one says that it contains 1 book and 3 bookish goodies, and before she sent this along to me, I gave her my Goodreads link so that she could have a look at all of the books I had already read. And in the little note that she sent me, she said, I noticed you enjoy fantasy and lit fic, so I added a book I think you will enjoy in some fantasy orientated cards. So we know a little bit of what's in here. Break through the pretty washi tape. Ooh, oh, that's cute. So the book that she included was The Colour Purple by Alice Walker. This is actually a book which I have read. I read this when I was in university. I haven't read it in years and years, and my university copy completely fell apart and had to be binned. There was no even donating that sucker. And actually, based on what you would find in my Goodreads, I think that this is actually a reasonable pick for me. So in here there's also this Melina's Bookstore bookmark which has lots of famous literary figures on it. And then we've got a little selection of goodies in here, including another bookmark. This is a set of Dark Academia postcards, which, hi, she got dead right. These are positively delicious. And then, ooh, this is stickers. I've just taken all of the stickers off of my laptop because it's time for a refresh, so these will find a good home. Oh, so we have read queer books and we have read banned books. That was the absolute cutest. Thank you so much, Melina, for reaching out. And like I say, guys, if you want to get your own mystery bag, then you can head down to the description box below and have a look at Melina's store. Oh, and that also means that this is another book which can go on and come straight back off. Yes! It will only partially make up for the rest of these, but I will take any small one where I can. So, before we get on to the books that I purchased and purchased at Rare, the last book that I have to show you from a publisher is this one. This is We Are Hunted by Tommy Oyemekinde. This one is about Femi and his brother. They have a very fractured relationship with their father and they are desperate to try and find some sort of connection with him. Unfortunately, he is a very busy man, and so the only way that they can do this is by accompanying him on a business trip, which kind of doubles up as like, look, you're getting a free holiday out of this. Everybody should be happy going into this, right? This business trip, however, ends up being to a mysterious island where Femi and his brother encounter a range of very strange animals. These animals are being shown in amongst a bunch of futuristic technology on a resort on this island. But very quickly, Femi and his brother start to wonder whether they are ever going to be able to leave. Sign me up. I absolutely love all of the eyes on this cover. So I'm not sad to add this one to the I have received it and have not yet read it pile, because it sounds like I'm gonna fly through it when I do pick it up. Okay, so next up I have a book that I purchased because I'm taking part in a read-along. A read-along which, because I haven't been here for a month, I haven't actually told you guys about. Not exactly excelling in those hosting duties, am I? My lovely friend Heather reached out to me a couple of months ago and was like, hey, you love the Queen's Thief series, don't you? And I was like, yeah girl, I was trash for that back in the day. And she was like, I'm gonna run a read along, do you want in? Yeah, I want in. However, my old copies of all of my Megan Whalen Turner books were all different sizes. Some of them were thrifted and they were absolutely falling apart, and absolutely none of them matched. So I was like, if I am going to join in with this read along, I am going to treat myself to the new covers. I am very glad that I did, because it is absolutely stunning. Now, I did manage to actually read this one in time for the live show, but I could not attend the live show on account of being very disgusting, not fit for any kind of camera time. In case you have never heard of this series, which was very, very popular back in the day, this is about Gen. Gen, has an issue with keeping his mouth shut, and at the beginning of this book it has landed him in the King's prison, where he, despite being a rather good thief, can't actually seem to find any way out. And so when the King's Magus turns up in his cell and is like, listen, you're gonna rot in here, you got two choices. Either you can rot in here, or you can go on a probably doomed and extremely risky mission to steal back a sacred magical object for us, and if you manage it, you have your freedom back. Gen really isn't in any position to be like, no thank you. He says, sure, I'll do that, and then bad things happen. Which is the basis for most of the books that I love. So I'm very excited to continue on with rereading this series, even though it is another series on my series tracker that I now need to add that I'm rereading. Yay! Good job! Next up is a book that I pre-ordered and I was super excited for, like over the moon excited for, and it turns out it was just kind of okay, because I actually finished it this morning, and that is Want by Gillian Anderson. She of course is very famous for the X-Files, but also as the mother in Sex Education. And so this book essentially is Gillian Anderson kind of doing the exact same thing. She has anonymously collected many sexual fantasies from different real people. She is very clear in the introduction of this book that though she uses the term woman throughout the book, she is using that as an encompassing term, include queer people, gender fluid people, trans people, everybody under the banner. And this collection essentially looks at a bunch of really mundane and really taboo different sexual fantasies that people have every day. It looks at and really like breaks down the idea of how often women think about sex, and it's also not a function just to make their partners happy. Either way, I enjoyed the fact that we we were consuming these essays with absolutely no bias, that you only got a little bit of biographical information at the end of them. But because they are essays from like a variety of different people in different circumstances, they are obviously written in a variety of different ways also, and some of that I enjoyed more than I enjoyed others. I feel like depending on how much information and knowledge that you have in feminist politics, you will come down on a different side of this one. If you're being introduced to a lot of these thoughts and theories for the first time in this book, then you're probably going to absolutely lap that up, for want of a better phrase. But if you've read a lot on this subject or on women's sexuality in general, this might not be quite as illuminating for you. However, I am still delighted to own something that Gillian Anderson has signed. Okay, let's now talk about the collection of books that I picked up at Rare. I'll also point out that I did see Patricia Briggs at Rare, and I did get quite a few of my Mercy Thompson books signed, although I think I could have probably taken my entire collection for her to sign, but there was no way that I was carrying a suitcase around Rare or toting them in a tote bag. Loads of them are hardback. It was just not happening. So this little collection here was a combination between having a look at tables, seeing what different authors had available, and Becca recommendations, because Becca was going to get some books signed from some of these authors. The first one that I picked up was actually a free book from the free tables, and I am not gonna lie, I literally just picked it up for shits and gigs, because this is Starting Over Scottish by Trisha O'Malley. It's a grumpy sunshine romance, which is good for me. I do usually like that, but it's a holiday romance, which is less good for me, and also it's got tons of Scottish stuff in it, and Trisha O'Malley is not Scottish. This is the kind of Scottish brain trash that I like to sign myself up for. And then there is one that I had my eye on for quite a while before I went to Rare and was hoping it was there to pick up, and that is A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett Sinclair. This is a Hades and Persephone retelling. You guys know that I'm absolute trash for that, and while in general I will always have a nostalgia for my love of mythology, I think my time reading retellings is pretty much over. This one just kept popping up. Quite a few of my patrons absolutely love this book. So in this one, Persephone is a journalist. She has moved to New Athens and she has tried to leave all of her goddess duties behind. She is in disguise as a mortal. She wants absolutely nothing to do with her old lifestyle. And then she gets led to a nightclub. The back says, Hades, god of the dead, has built a gambling empire in the mortal world and his favourite bets are rumoured to be impossible, but nothing has ever intrigued him as much as the goddess offering him a bargain he can't resist. The next one that I picked up was a Becca recommendation. She literally walked up to a table and went, I think you will like that. The first line of the back of this book says, Marymount girls are good girls, and that should give you roughly an idea about what you're going to find in here. This is Tryst 6 Venom by Penelope Douglas. It is about Clay Collins. She is very much the head of her own little domain. She is boarding in a Catholic school. Nothing happens in this school that she doesn't know about. This is a story of when Clay meets Liv. Liv is actually a graduate from the school that Clay currently goes to. She has got into an Ivy League college, and her side of town is her side of town, and Clay gets the other side of town. And Liv has made it very clear that ne'er the twain shall meet, but Clay doesn't like that, and so she decides to push the boundaries of their little arrangement, which leads to, I assume, romancy things of a dangerous variety. I actually absolutely love the cover of this book, and I am really, really excited for it. When was the last time that I got pumped about romance, guys? And then finally, I picked up these two books by Laura Pavlov. These are the first two books in the Magnolia Falls series, so we have got Loving Romeo and Wild River. They are small town edgy boys romances. And again, say less. We know that my issue is that I would love to be a romance girly, but that I am not, for the most part, a romance girly at all. We know that I need there to be other kinds of plots in books other than the romance in order to drive it along, for the most part, to keep my interest. I did just do a try a chapter tag in Becca's house with Becca's romance collection, which proved once again that that was the case. I have read the first few chapters of Loving Romeo, and so far I am loving Romeo. I am am loving this book quite a lot. And as you guys may have divined from the fact that I have told you that I am currently filming a 60% video, I did purchase these rare books before I finished the vlog. Now this one is unfortunately a bit of a weird circumstance because obviously I did get sick during the filming of that vlog, and so it is quite long already. So I think this is going to end up being part 3. The third episode of the 60% Diaries is going to be a continuation of episode 2, and I'm going to have to read all of the books that I picked up at Rare because I voluntarily bought them during the filming of that vlog, something which Becca gleefully pointed out to me when we got home from the second day at Rare. You'll find out very soon what I think about these books one way or another. So that is it, guys. Those are all of the books that have come into my house, and the numbers I don't think are actually as bad as I thought they were going to be. As always, I haven't been counting, so I will show you guys now the final number of books that have come into my house that haven't been read, and also now adjusted for the amount of books that I have read up until now, plus the books that have come on and gone straight back off my 2024 percentages. This is the percentage of books that I have read that I have bought so far in 2024. You can tell me how close that is to 60% of those books. I don't suspect the numbers are going to be where I want them to be at this point in the year, but this is also the point in the year where my buying vastly slows down. There's always just a tiny little blip around about September time, then for the rest of the year it's fairly quiet, so I don't anticipate any more huge splurges of books coming into the house. So that means that hopefully I can focus my efforts for the end of the year on hitting my 60%. If you have got this far through the video, then leave me a lightning bolt down below for the Percy Jackson set. And as always, please tell me if you have read any of the books that I've picked up here today, what you thought of them. And of course, if there are any other books based on the things that were in this haul that you think I was like, tell me about those down below too. There always are Christmas lists, guys. Don't forget, if you would like to get your hands on your very own Serious Light from the Serious Lights range, then check out my link down below in the description box and my code on screen to get you £100 off of your first purchase and free UK delivery. If you are new here and you would like to see how I get on with this stack, then please hit that subscribe button, and if you are a returning subscriber who has missed me while I've been sick, then please hit that thumbs up on your way out because it really does help my channel, and I will speak to you guys really soon.